Somewhere deep inside a dark forest, there is a tent. And inside that tent, there is a little stick figure, fast asleep. Look at him, flat on his back, mouth hanging wide open, a thin line of drool sliding down toward the pillow. One arm flopped off the side of the sleeping bag. He is snoring, softly, completely gone, with zero awareness of the world around him. By every definition that matters out here in the wild, he is helpless. He is soft. He is slow. He is quiet little meat that cannot fight back and barely even knows it is alive right now. And just beyond that thin wall of nylon, the forest is wide awake. There are eyes out there. There are noses out there. There are creatures moving through the dark that can hear his heartbeat from across a clearing. Creatures that can smell him from a mile away. Creatures that can see almost perfectly in a blackness where our little stick figure could not see his own hand in front of his face. Wolves, bears, big cats with long teeth and silent feet. Animals that could end him in a single quiet second, if they decided they felt like it. And yet, here is the strange part. Here is the part nobody ever stops to think about. In the morning, the little stick figure is going to wake up, stretch, yawn, crawl out of his tent, into the sunlight, alive, all his arms and legs still attached. And the next night, and the night after that, and every single night, for as long as humans have ever slept out under the open sky, the same impossible thing keeps happening. The helpless creature in the flimsy tent wakes up. Every time. Why? Seriously, stop and sit with that for a moment. A sleeping human is a buffet that cannot run, cannot fight, and cannot even see it as being eaten until it already is. You would think predators would be circling these little tents every night, lining up, taking turns, but they are not. They almost never are. And the reason they are not is not one single thing. It is never just one thing. It is layer upon layer upon layer of reasons, each one stranger than the last, and together they tell a story so old it goes back further than cities, further than farming, further than anything we normally call history. So, tonight, while our little stick figure sleeps, let us pull back the wall of that tent and find out exactly why the dark is letting him live. Except, our stick figure is not actually asleep anymore. His eyes snap open. A branch cracked somewhere out there in the black. His heart is suddenly hammering against the inside of his ribs. He lies dead still, holding his breath, staring up at the curve of the nylon, listening so hard it almost hurts. Every story he has ever heard about the woods comes flooding in at once. He is sweating. He is certain, absolutely certain, that something enormous and hungry is standing right outside, deciding how to open the zipper. Poor little guy, he is shaking. He is convinced this is the night the forest finally collects what it is owed. So let me tell him a secret. Let me tell him the very first reason he is safe, even though it is going to sound, at first, like the most arrogant thing he has ever heard. The secret is this. You, little stick figure, are terrifying. Not you personally. Look at you. No claws, no fangs. You cannot run fast. You are not strong for your size. You cannot see in the dark, you cannot smell anything worth mentioning, and you are currently hiding in a bag trembling. On paper, as an animal, you are honestly kind of a disaster. But you are not just any animal, you are a human. And to the predators of this world, humans are one of the most genuinely, deeply, bone-chillingly frightening things alive. Our stick figure blinks in the dark. He does not believe it. So, let me show him what scientists found. A few years back, researchers up in the Santa Cruz Mountains in California ran an experiment on mountain lions, pumas, cougars. Whatever you want to call them, these are absolute units of muscle and instinct, animals that drag down full-grown deer like it is nothing and haul the carcass up a steep hillside afterward for fun. The researchers waited until these pumas were out in the wild, and then they played a sound. Not a gunshot, not a roar, just a recording of human voices, people talking. The way you and I are talking right now. And the pumas ran. They fled. They bolted at the same rate they fled, from the sound of barking dogs, and in plenty of cases, even faster. These magnificent killers heard the sound of a podcast and sprinted away into the trees. And it gets stranger. When the pumas had already made a kill, when they were standing over fresh meat, actually eating, and that human voice drifted in on the wind, many of them abandoned the food. They walked away from a meal they had already worked and burned and bled for, just to put distance between themselves and the sound of a talking primate. Think about what that costs a predator. Giving up a kill is like working a full day and then setting your paycheck on fire. And they did it anyway, because the discomfort of being near us was worse in their wiring than the pain of an empty stomach. And this is not just a California puma thing. Out on the African plains, lions move less and hide more in the places where humans pass through. In India, tigers leave a wide, respectful gap around villages, even when those villages sit right in the middle of the best hunting ground for miles. Deep in the Amazon, jaguars quietly rearrange their whole nightly route just to avoid the spots where people tend to be. These are not animals that cannot hurt us. These are animals that have decided, as a species, across countless generations, that we are simply not worth it. And why would they decide that? Here is the brutal, beautiful answer, little stick figure, and it is the reason that ancient alarm is humming in your blood right now. Because we have been hunting them for a very, very long time. Humans have been active, dangerous predators for around 2 million years. 2 million. In that time, we did not just survive the wild, we reshaped it. We hunted mammoths until there were no more mammoths. Giant ground sloths, woolly rhinos, saber-toothed cats, cave bears, monsters that had laughed off entire ice ages, vanished within a few thousand years of humans walking into their lands. Across North America, we hunted the wolves down to almost nothing. We wiped the mountain lions clean off the entire eastern half of the continent. We trapped them, shot them, chased them for so long and so relentlessly that the predators alive today are the children of the most careful ones. That is not a story. That is selection. The bold lion that crept up to the human campfire got killed. The cautious lion that turned and slipped away into the dark survived to have cubs, and it taught those cubs nothing, because it did not need to. The caution was already in them. It became instinct. It became the factory setting of every large predator that shares a world with us. So when a leopard catches the scent of our little stick figure tonight, somewhere deep in its nervous system, far below thought, an ancient red light begins to blink. It is not thinking about history. It does not know what a railway or a rifle is. But every ancestor it ever had who survived a close call with humans whispered the same warning down through the blood. Be careful with that one. Do not engage. Move along. That warning is older than language. And it is pointed, right now, away from the tent. Our little stick figure lets out a slow, shaky breath. His heart is still pounding, but something in him has loosened, just a little. He is the scary one? Him? The trembling shape in the sleeping bag? He is not fully convinced yet. So let us give him the second reason. And for this one, he needs to think about how he smells. Now, our stick figure has never once thought about his own smell, because he is surrounded by other humans all day long, and he has gone completely noseblind to the whole species. But out here, to a creature whose nose is anywhere from 10 times to 100,000 times sharper than his own, he is not quiet at all. He is screaming. He is broadcasting an enormous, detailed, deeply weird chemical signal into the night, and he has no idea. A bear can smell things several times better than a bloodhound. A wolf can pick up a scent from nearly 2 miles away on the right breeze. The big cats have a special organ in the roof of the mouth that basically lets them taste the air, pulling it apart molecule by molecule. So when one of these animals leans in toward the tent and takes a long, careful breath, what does it actually smell? It smells wrong. All wrong. It smells nylon, polyester, the strange chemical tang of a factory. It smells the leftover dinner in our stick figure's belly and the snacks zipped up in his bag. It smells soap and shampoo and sunscreen and bug spray, a cocktail of artificial compounds that exists absolutely nowhere else in the natural world. And underneath all of that, way down at the bottom, yes, it can finally smell something living, a primate, which is something, but it is not the something the predator is hunting for. Because here is a thing most people get wrong about predators. Their hunger is not a vague, general urge to kill anything that moves. It is a finely tuned machine built over millions of years, calibrated to very specific prey. A wolf's whole body, lights up at the exact bounding rhythm of a deer. A lion's strike is triggered by the shape and speed and scent of the animals it has chased 1,000 times. Our little stick figure does not match any of those patterns. He is not deer, he is not antelope. He is not in the catalog. He is an anomaly, a glitch, a question mark. And for most predators, a question mark does not mean dinner. It means caution. And then there is the fire. Our stick figure suddenly remembers it. Outside the tent, a little ways off, his campfire is still burning low, glowing orange against the trees. Earlier that night, he almost let it die. He thought, what is the point? I am going to sleep anyway. Why waste the wood? And right now, without knowing it, that lazy little fire is one of the best decisions he ever made. Because fire is one of the only things on Earth that almost every land animal is born afraid of. Not taught to fear, born to fear. An animal that ran from wildfire survived to have babies. An animal that did not. The dread runs so deep that creatures raised in a lab who have never once seen a flame in their lives will still flinch and back away at the smell of smoke. That is how far down it goes, right into the bedrock of the code. And humans, well, we have been sleeping beside fire for somewhere between 1 and 2 million years. We did not do it only for warmth and not only to cook. We did it, maybe without ever realizing why, because it works. A campfire does not just keep a stick figure warm. It plants a signal in the dark all around him that says, something powerful is here. Something that controls fire. Stay away. And the predators got that message so long ago and have been getting it for so many thousands of generations that they no longer even have to decode it. The smell of smoke just turns them around. Our little stick figure figured fire out before he ever figured out farming, before pottery, before writing, before he built a single wall. Fire first. Honestly, looking back, smart move. He almost smiles. He is starting to feel safe. And that, right there, is the most dangerous moment of the whole night, because this is exactly where most people relax. They hear that predators are scared of voices and smoke and weird smells, and they roll over and they stop paying attention and they assume they are untouchable. And assuming you are untouchable is the one mistake that can get the rest of this story very, very wrong. So, before our stick figure drifts off feeling like the king of the forest, he needs to understand the thing that actually keeps the deal honest. He needs to understand how a predator's mind really works, because it is not what the movies told him. The movies sold him a lie. The movies told him the apex predator is a fearless, unstoppable killing machine that attacks anything in range, eyes glowing, no hesitation. That is fiction. Pure, dramatic popcorn fiction. The truth is almost the opposite. In real life, big predators are some of the most careful, most cautious, most calculating creatures alive. They have to be. Because a lion does not have health insurance. A wolf does not get sick days. Out here, one serious injury, a broken leg, a deep bite, a damaged eye, is not a trip to the doctor. It is a slow death sentence. Because a hurt predator still has to hunt every single day with the wound or it starves. There is no healing in a warm bed while someone brings you soup. There is only keep hunting or die. So, every predator, every single night, is running a cold little math problem before it commits to anything. Is this meal worth the risk? Is this creature familiar enough that I know how it will fight back? Are my odds of winning this clean and fast high enough to bother? And a sleeping stick figure fails that math in 3 separate ways. First, he is a stranger. A predator is most confident attacking the prey it knows by heart, the prey it has watched 100 times and understands completely. It knows how a zebra runs, where it cannot see, how it kicks when it panics. It does not know our stick figure at all. He might wake up screaming. He might have a hard, sharp tool lying right next to him. He might have other humans nearby who come running. He might thrash and flail in some completely unexpected way. For a predator trying to avoid injury at all costs, that much uncertainty is a giant flashing warning. Second, there is his shape. When a stick figure stands up, he is actually surprisingly big, tall, upright. And that upright, two-legged posture is not just how he gets around. To other animals, standing tall is a threat. It is what a gorilla does when it wants to scare you. It is what a bear does when it wants to look terrifying. A creature that walks around standing up all the time, as its normal, everyday mode, reads as bold and assertive without even trying. And even lying down asleep, that strange human silhouette does not whisper easy meal. It whispers careful. And third, the simplest reason of all, why bother? A healthy predator in a healthy forest is surrounded by prey it already knows and trusts and can catch without drama. So, why on earth would it gamble its whole life, its only body, on a strange, upright creature that smells like a chemical factory and might be holding a sharp rock, when there is a perfectly normal rabbit 200 feet that way? The math does not work. It never works, so it walks away. But our little stick figure should not get too comfortable, because this deal, as old and reliable as it is not a guarantee carved in stone. The truth is, sometimes, rarely, the agreement breaks, and it almost always breaks for the same reasons. It breaks when a predator is hurt and can no longer chase the fast, normal prey it used to catch. It breaks when a predator is starving because people have torn down its forest and its usual food is simply gone. It breaks when an animal has been fed by humans so many times that it forgets the old fear entirely and starts to see a person not as a danger, but as a snack machine. And it breaks when a predator is just old and slow and desperate, past its prime, unable to take down anything quick anymore. Long ago, in a place called Savo, two lions began hunting the men building a railway. Over about 9 months, they killed somewhere between 35 and well over 100 people, and the legend only grew in the retelling. But what gets left out is that these were not ordinary lions. They were unusual animals, and one of them had badly damaged teeth, which likely made its normal prey almost impossible to hunt. And there was the great tiger of Champawat, blamed for hundreds of deaths across the hills, until a hunter named Jim Corbett finally found her and discovered she had once been shot in the mouth, her great canine teeth shattered, leaving her unable to bring down the deer she was built for. Every single one of these stories is the same story underneath. Something was broken. The normal math had collapsed. The ancient caution got overruled by pure, grinding desperation. Which means the rule still holds, almost everywhere, almost always, as long as the forest is whole and the predator is healthy, and the human has not done something foolish, like leaving food scattered around the tent, or walking up to a wild animal, or letting the fire die just because it seemed like a waste of wood. By now, our little stick figure has stopped shaking. He is lying there in the dark, eyes open, thinking about all of it. The fleeing pumas, the wrong smell, the fire, the careful math behind every hungry eye in the forest. And he is starting to feel something he did not expect to feel tonight. Calm. But there are 2 more reasons he is safe. And these 2 are the quietest of all, because they were working the whole time, even while he slept. The first one is happening inside his own head. Our stick figure thinks he was completely switched off, dead to the world, totally defenseless. He was not. Human sleep does not work like a light switch. It works in waves. He sinks down into deep sleep, then floats back up into lighter sleep over and over all night long. And during those lighter stretches, his brain never fully clocks out. It keeps listening. It keeps a quiet watch on the world, filtering every sound, sorting the normal from the strange. The gentle hiss of wind in the leaves, it ignores. But a twig snapping close by, a heavy body pushing through the brush, a sudden change in the air, those it flags, and it can yank him from asleep to wide awake in a single heartbeat. Scientists call this the sentinel side of sleep, the watchman that never fully goes home. And it is no accident that our stick figure has it. The humans long ago, who slept too deep, who never stirred at the sound in the dark, often did not get to wake up at all. The light sleepers, the ones who could go from snoring to standing in 2 seconds flat, those were the ones who lived and had children, and passed the watchman down the line. So even when our little guy feels totally helpless, he is actually running a quiet, ancient alarm system the entire night. Not perfect, not foolproof, but always on. And the second quiet reason is right there beside him. He is not alone. Just a few feet away, in the other tents, his friends are sleeping too. Humans almost never camp alone. We travel in groups, sleep in groups, and we wake in groups. And predators understand groups better than almost anything, because the animals they hunt live in groups too. A predator does not just attack a herd, it watches for the straggler, the one that wandered off. The one that fell behind. The lonely individual, cut from the crowd. That is the one it wants. Our stick figure is not that one. He is tucked inside a little cluster of sleeping humans, and the moment one of them jolts awake and shouts, the rest will wake too. For a predator hoping to make one clean, silent, low-risk kill, that is a nightmare. A hunt that turns into a chaos of yelling, scrambling humans is exactly the kind of thing it has spent a million years learning to avoid. So it keeps its distance. It always keeps its distance. And it is at this exact moment, just as our little stick figure finally feels safe enough to close his eyes, that the forest decides to test everything we have said. A twig snaps. Loud, close. His eyes fly open. His whole body goes rigid. The fire has burned down to a dull red glow now, and beyond it, in the black wall of the trees, something is moving. Something big. He hears the soft, deliberate crunch of a heavy paw setting down in the leaves. Then another. Slow, patient, coming closer. And then he sees them. Two eyes, low to the ground, catching the last of the firelight and throwing it back. Gold and cold. A leopard. Long and lean and utterly silent, sliding along the edge of the camp with its head low, drinking in the scent of the strange creature in the tent. Our little stick figure cannot move. He cannot breathe. This is it. This is the night the forest collects. Every reason, every study, every comforting word, all of it feels like nothing now, with those two gold eyes fixed on his tent. The leopard takes one more step. Its nose lifts. It tastes the air. And it gets the whole picture at once. The smell is wrong. All chemical and factory and snack food. Nothing like prey. There is smoke in the air. The old, terrible smoke. The thing every cell in its body was born to flee. The shape inside the tent is upright, human. The silhouette of the creature that 2 million years of dead, careless ancestors taught it to fear. And there is not one of them. There are several, clustered, ready to wake as one. And below all of that, deeper than thought, that ancient red light is blinking hard now. Be careful with that one. Do not engage. Move along. The leopard freezes. It holds there for one long, unbearable second, every muscle coiled. And then it turns away. It melts back into the dark exactly the way it came, silent, gone, the gold eyes blinking out like someone closed a door. The leaves whisper, once. And then there is nothing but the soft pop of the dying fire and the slamming of one little stick figure's heart. He lies there for a long time, just breathing, just feeling his own pulse come back down. And something has changed in him. He is not the same trembling shape that woke up at the start of this night, because now, finally, he understands. He understands that there is an agreement out here, an old, invisible, unspoken agreement between humans and the wild. Nobody signed it. Nobody can read it. But it is written into the blood of every predator in the forest, and it has been honored, night after night, for longer than there have been names for any of this. The deal is simple. You are the thing we learned to fear, and so we let you sleep. He understands now that he is not the helpless one. He is the most dangerous animal on this entire planet. The one that figured out fire before it figured out anything else. The one that has spent 2 million years teaching everything with claws and fangs to be afraid. The one whose fear ripples so far out into the world that it changes everything. Because when the predators avoid the places where humans walk, the deer grow bolder there and eat more, and the whole green web of the forest shifts, all of it bending quietly around a creature that was simply there, simply being the thing that evolution taught the rest of the world to dread. One species, one inherited fear, spreading out across the entire living world like ripples on dark water. And he carries that. 10,000 generations of stubborn, careful, fire-keeping survivors, all of them whispering through his blood, all of them the reason those gold eyes turned away tonight instead of coming through the wall. Our little stick figure lets out one last long breath. He lies back down. He pulls the sleeping bag up under his chin. And yes, that little pulse of ancient fear is still there, humming softly in his chest, the same fear that snapped his eyes open at every sound all night long. But he does not fight it anymore. He understands it now. That fear is a gift. That fear is the voice of every ancestor who lived long enough to pass it on. It is the watchman. It is supposed to be there. But the thing outside the tent is not coming in. It looked, it listened, it tasted the air, and it knew better. So our little stick figure closes his eyes. And out there, in the dark, the forest goes on, patient and careful and quietly afraid of the soft, sleeping creature in the flimsy tent. And in the morning, the way it always happens, the way it has happened every single night for longer than anyone can remember, the sun comes up, the birds start, the fire is cold ash. And the little stick figure stretches and yawns and crawls out into the light alive every time.